More than 3,000 years ago, a wise man called Moses stood on a mountaintop and viewed the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Today, the wise, up-to-date, progressive dairy farmers in every dairy district of this fair land of ours may look forward to that day when their neighborhood will truly be a dairy land flowing with milk and money. In that day, every dairy cow in the United States will be a high and economical producer of milk and butter fat. Every mature dairy bull will be proved or partly proved by comparing the production records of his daughters with the production records of their dams. And every dairy herd will be tested for infectious abortion and also for tuberculosis. All our dairy herds will be well bred and free from infectious and contagious diseases. In that day, every intelligent dairy farmer in the United States owning 10 cows or more will belong to a dairy herd improvement association or will manage in some other way to keep production, feed costs, and income records of his cows. The typical Dairy Herd Improvement Association is an organization of about 26 dairy farmers who cooperatively employ a man to test their cows for economical production of milk and butter fat. One day of every month, the tester weighs or measures the feed of each cow in the herd. He weighs the milk of each milking. He takes a composite sample of her day's production, and he tests her milk for % of butter fat. The first association in this country began work in Newaygo County, Michigan in 1906 with 239 cows on test. Now there are more than 1,000 associations in the United States testing 500,000 cows. The average butter fat production of the cows on test in 1906 was 215 pounds. Now in 1,000 associations, it is 306 pounds. The records are computed in the field by the testers. The State Dairy Extension Specialist sends them to the Bureau of Dairy Industry in Washington, where they are tabulated, and the results returned to the state. Among other things, the studies of the records have shown that the cows that freshen in the fall and early winter win out on an average over all others in production of milk and butter fat per cow. Registered cows on an average excel the grades in production of milk and butter fat per cow and in income over cost of feed. Within the breed, the big cows win. On an average for one breed, the cows that weighed 800 pounds produce 290 pounds of butter fat, and the 1,200-pound cows produce 334 pounds of butter fat a year per cow. The records also show that the daughters of carefully selected proved bulls excel the dams of the daughters in production of milk and butter fat. On an average, the dams produce 486 pounds of butter fat, and the daughters average 795 pounds. A study of more than 200,000 yearly individual cow records has shown that the cows that produced 100 pounds of butter fat a year had a yearly income over cost of feed of $11. At 200 pounds, it was $51. At 300 pounds, it was $93. At 400 pounds, it was $136. And at 500 pounds, it was $187. The high-producing cows ate more, but it always pays to keep good cows and to feed them well. As Mark Twain used to say, even a one-eyed potato could see that. The feed records favor clover, alfalfa, silage, grain, and good pasture. Yet a friend of mine says that down in his neck of the woods, a pasture may be defined as a fenced-in portion of the earth's surface on which grass does not grow. An old Quaker sold a cow that he claimed gave 5 gallons of rich milk every day. When she gave but 3 and the buyer complained, the Quaker replied, "Nay, nay, my friend, thee should have bought my pasture too." A Virginia farmer was the owner of 14 cows. After joining a dairy herd improvement association, he discovered that 7 of his cows were very profitable and that 7 were decidedly unprofitable. He says that the records reminded him of the old Hebrew-Egyptian story of the 7 fat years and the 7 lean years. For as the 7 lean years ate up the 7 fat years, so his 7 poor cows ate up the profits the other cows made. He sent the 7 poor cows to the butcher. Now he makes a fair profit from his dairy herd. Domestic animals are supposed to be the slaves of man. But the man who owns a low-producing, unprofitable dairy herd has this idea reversed. He himself is a slave to his dairy cows. Every day all summer long he turns them out to pasture in the morning and brings them home again at night. Every day all winter long he feeds them grain and hay, cleans and beds their stable, and furnishes them with pure fresh water to drink. To me it is almost incomprehensible that so many otherwise intelligent dairymen will go on milking, feeding, and caring for low-producing, unprofitable, scrub dairy cows when there are in this old world so many other and more worthy objects of charity. Some of you will remember the old days when you and I were little folks in the country school, and the teacher gave us beans to count to keep us busy. That was called busy work. Those of us who are milking cows that produce 150 to 200 pounds of butter fat a year might about as well still be counting beans. In the late afternoon of a pleasant summer day, as you stand at the head of the lane and watch your cows come home, do you ever realize what they are bringing to you and to your family? If they are high-producing dairy cows, it requires no wild stretch of the imagination to say that they are bringing home sufficient wealth with which to pay for all the necessaries and for many of the luxuries of life. After the toil of the day is over, our prosperous dairy farmer, his fair wife, stalwart sons, and beautiful daughters sometimes assemble on their well-kept lawn for rest and recreation. They are not worried about the future because they have been successful in building up a high-producing herd of dairy cows. Such a herd will send the boys and girls through school.
Just think, Mother, it's only 2 more weeks until school closes.
You children may consider yourself most fortunate that your father is able to send you to school.
Yes, Dad. It's been wonderful of you to send us all to school and give us such a lovely home, too.
Yes, Mary, but remember, it was the cows. Everything we have we owe to our high-producing dairy cows.
Such a herd will send the boys and girls through school. Regardless of breed, a high-producing herd of dairy cows will also provide the farm home with all modern conveniences and ensure the old folks against poverty and distress during their declining years.